Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, messenger of the covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Welcome. Brothers and sisters, what you're witnessing and what you will continue to witness for the next year or so is a consequence of the Holocaust. In addition, the consequence of their entire 500-year history of Gog and Magog since they came out of the bottomless pit as stated in chapter 20 of Revelations, or aka the angel. That's referring to that's European history. They're coming out. It came out 500 years ago, covered the whole world, deceived the whole world. That's one of the purpose. That's one example of the deception about chapter 20. Because they're the American Britain are the Gog and Magog that is talking about chapter 20. And says they were thrown in the pit for 1,000 years. There was a resurrection, the resurrection of Abraham's Islamic empire, resurrected by Prophet Muhammad, that bottled them up in the dark age for 1,000 years. They came out, deceived the whole world, make mischief, shed blood, and now at the end, they're receiving the consequences of that. The Holocaust, but also everything they did as a result of their coming out the bottomless pit, make mischief, shed blood, so they would go out to seek to kill, steal, and destroy. Exactly what they did, Europeans included. Britain is not, it's not Europe, it's off the coast of Europe, it's British Isles. Magog, the mother of God, and Gog, America came out of Magog, out of Britain. So you see this, I'm gonna put everything in perspective for you, brothers and sisters. See this drug problem they have right now? That's coming back as a consequence, because that's what they imposed upon China for decades. They forced drugs on China. They got the whole country addicted to heroin, opium, that they was taking from the Middle East. And they, because remember, they came out of Europe, they had nothing. They had destroyed Europe, turned to a shithole, and now they was going out to take from every, like this person, Rick Wild, saying, that's what war is all about, taking other people's stuff. That's exactly what they did. Everything they have, they stole. Everything Europeans have right now, they stole. They had nothing. They had raped Europe, they destroyed it. It was a shithole, and they went out looking to take everybody's stuff, looking to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's exactly what they did. They became rich. Somebody's queen. She was a family. She's of the family of the people that enslaved our people. So, and you got Negroes, but hey man, the queen. She's of the family that destroyed our nation. Hell with her. Thing is that they took and when they were escaping Europe, they were escaping from destruction it caused, because they turned gold into shit. They turned Europe into a shithole. It was famines, disease, you name it. What do you call it? A drought and get the other name. They couldn't grow anything. They destroyed the soil, topsoil, everything. See? But they were the evil that they were escaping, because they was evil to themselves. They're evil people. They were evil to themselves. If you go back and look at Europe during the Dark Ages, these people were evil to themselves. Because they're evil, they were evil to themselves. They had this peasant system that was being abused, and they had no justice, they had no sense of it. They had no sense of any things. It was totally evil against themselves until they had us to punch on. So they tell psychologists tell if you got this urge to beat on somebody, just go get your punching bag, and then you spend all that energy, that negative energy on that punching bag. Then you go back home. Hi, honey, how you doing? Because you beat the hell out of that punching bag. So in other words, because you have so much negative energy stored within you, right? So then you want to get. So if you're taking, you have a limited amount of energy. So if you spend the energy on that punching bag, then you won't bring it home with you. But see, now they had us for 500 years to spend all that negative energy on us. So now all of a sudden they was nice to each other. Oh, liberty, freedom, justice. They being nice to each other because they had us to beat up on. You don't understand these things, brothers and sisters. They're us that take out their frustration, their evil, their anger, the sadistic urges, predilections. They're us to spend all that negative energy on. So therefore, they was all suddenly nice to each other. Oh, now we got democracy, we got freedom, we got justice, but they didn't have it for us. Because who's the punching bag? So you got a punching bag and you got we put it in the context of husband and wife, right? You got your punching bag over here, then you don't punch on your wife anymore. So you're nice to her. But if they get rid of that punch bag, then you stop punching on her. Because you got the urge to punch. You got to punch on something. So they divert your attention to that punching bag. So who's the punching bag for the whole world? They beat the shit out of us for 500 years. And you see how much negativity, how evil they are, because how badly they did, how much they punched us. I mean, they punched that bag. You have a punching bag, they beat the hell out of the punch. I mean, they turned into cotton, just beat the hell out of it. There wasn't anything left. There was much anger and evil, frustration they had, and they did to us. They beat us and beat us constantly. No let up. Because all that, if there was angels, why they got all that evil predilections? Why they got all that evil anger? Why do you have all of that? And then they agreed, took down us too, because took everything we had and forced us to turn their shit into gold. And they gave us the shit. There's more to it than we can talk about. I can talk about today, but I'm just trying to get understanding. They went all around the world and did all that evil. So when you see the drugs, oh man, that's so bad. The Chinese bringing drugs in. What I'm trying to point to, brothers and sisters, that what you're witnessing is the consequence of what they did. So this is not something out of the blue. Oh man, they're bringing, no, backfire. I want to point all these things out to you. And things happen to them right now is consequence. They won't tell you that. Oh, all this fentanyl coming from China. All this, yeah, but did you ever bring drugs into China? Go look up the Boxer Rebellion. Google the Boxer Rebellion. That's what they call karate over in China. The Boxer Rebellion. What was that all about? That was because they didn't have guns and things. All they had was their hands. So they fought the British and Americans. They forced them out of there to stop poisoning their country, drugging their country with drugs. That's part of why the communists came along, right? Because that was one of the reasons, because they was trying to rid their country of the American influence and the European influence of primarily the British influence. And they got rid of all their drug dealers. So they don't have that problem. But now it's coming back to haunt them. Just like Iran, what they did over here. They went over there and took those people oil. The British, BP, British Petroleum. They had control of Iran. Iran was a democracy. A democracy in the 50s. But they had oil that the British wanted. And they was going to give it to them. They was going to nationalize the oil because Britain was taking their oil. And they said, well, that oil belongs to us. Britain said, no, that oil belongs to us because they was occupying all those countries for over 100 years. They occupied the Middle East, India, the Middle East, the whole of Asia. So the Iranians said, well, hold on, no. So they nationalized oil. I said, no. And what happened? They talked to America. America came in. They got rid of the democratically elected president. got rid of him. And they installed the Shah, a dictator who they hate so much. They got rid of the democratic system, installed a authoritarian system under the Shah. He was brutal. He could have taught Saddam Hussein some lessons. He was brutal. Over to 79, and they finally got rid of him. And they was taking their oil all that time. So now they got trouble with Iran. They're not telling you that part. They always tell you the part. They don't tell you the part where they wouldn't kick somebody in the ass and then turned around and walked away, and that person walked up and hit him back here with a bottle. Oh, that was a surprise attack. That was a surprise attack. See, they don't tell you the part where they initiated the fight. They don't tell you the part. Just like Japan. See, they dropped 2 atomic bombs in Japan. That's why America is going to, I told you, America will be nuked. Everything they've done, as you have done, shall be done to you. They tell you Japan just out of the blue attacked America. That's not true whatsoever. They went and put embargo around Japanese island. They put an embargo around there. Roosevelt did that purposely because he knew he wanted to get into World War II. The American public didn't want to do it. He had to find an excuse to get into it. So he says, because Japan was allied with Germany, so he knew if he got in a war with Japan, he'd be in war with Germany, he'd be in World War II by default. And so he put a blockade around Japan. He knew Japan would have, they would starve the people out. Japan was not going to allow that. They had a strong navy, strong military. They knew they would have to fight back. And mysteriously, when they did, Pearl Harbor, all the major destroyers and aircraft carriers happened just a day before, just leave the island. See, so they wasn't there when Japan came to took out the island. And they said, oh, a sneak attack. See, when you put an embargo, look up active war. When you put an embargo around a country, that's an act of war. That means you're at war with that country. So America was at war with Japan. And they knew that's how Japan was going to react. And then on top of that, they tell you all about weapons of mass destruction, how the good people, all that kind of stuff. They dropped 2 atomic bombs, not on Japan military, not on their military, not on their pets, not on their farms, on cities, killing women and children, hundreds of thousands of them. Maybe not hundreds of thousands, but tens of thousands, they killed them, blotted them out overnight. And then maybe hundreds of thousands may have died after the fact because they died from cancer and radiation, everything else afterwards. But the people that was in ground zero, they obliterate them in an instant. Turn them into ashes, just like that. And then you see women and children running around that was outside the blast zone with their skin falling off their bones. They couldn't even scratch themselves anything because the skin would just fall right off their bones. This is Japan, dropped 2. And they started the war. Japan wouldn't do anything to America. They started the war, and then now they dropped 2. So why did they drop? Even the General Marshall, he was the chairman and chief of staff, the top general in the Pentagon. He even said, why are you dropping on? Why not drop it on the military? Why are you dropping on the public, on women and children, on the cities? And you have to understand, Japan, at that time, most of the buildings was made of straw or what they call bamboo. So with the place that didn't drop the bomb, everything else got caught afire. It was a firestorm. 2 bombs. And they don't tell you the whole truth about that because they dropped the bombs, I believe, was in July, August, somewhere around there. But just before that, they had this great big push. Then World War II in Europe. D-Day. D-Day. Why? And right after D-Day, they defeated Hitler in World War II, right after that, then they wouldn't drop the bombs in Japan because they had the bombs already. They just didn't want to drop it on white folks. They didn't want to drop it on white folks. That's why they had to end the war in Germany right fast, so then they could hit. Because if they didn't, people say, well, how come you drop it on Japan? Why not drop it on Germany when Germany started the war? So that's why they had this big push then in Germany. So then they could have, they could say, oh, well, we didn't have it. If we had it, we'd drop it. No, they had it. They had the bombs. They just didn't want to drop it on Japan, on Germany. They dropped 2 of them on Japan. So that's all the things you see, brothers and sisters, that's transpiring right now, transpiring all the way for the next year or so. It's a consequence of everything they did since they came out of the pit, the bottomless pit, 500 years ago. Now, consequences caught up with them. And everything they've done is come back. They're going to be nuked at the end. The whole system is being compromised. Everything they did, and we're not talking about the Holocaust here, because all this other stuff is like appetizers. In fact, nuking is going to be almost a blessing for them because they had to put into it. But they're going through the Holocaust. Every bit, every ounce bit of it, every instant, every action, every bit of it, they're going to go experience all of it in vivid color, HD, Technicolor. Experience every bit of it. Compressed into 1 year, 5 years compression, 5 years of horror. Because how do you maintain a horror system? With terror. They terrorize us. So now you see all the terrorists coming back to America. America's a terrorist country. They terrorize us. Fine. Now they're going to be terrorized. Everything they did is coming back to them. Everything. So they can call it CRT or whatever. They can call it whatever they want to call it. But consequence is written in the stars, it's written in the universe, it's in the fabric of the universe. Consequence. And it only goes away when it's satisfied. Every action has an opposite reaction. Once you take the action, then the reaction follows. Once the reaction follows, then everything is back to copacetic. Everything is back even. Balance sheet is balanced. But the balance sheet is always balanced. So if you do evil, consequence is there, and it will take its course. That's the mathematics. You cannot change the mathematics. And nobody's blood, nobody's sacrifice, the blood of Jesus, or whatever, going to change that. That's a lie they're telling you. Nothing will change that. So all the things you see, this drug thing, the nuking of America, right? All this criminal activities going on. See, because they went all around the world stealing people's stuff. They put people in jail for stuff they was doing. All this stuff that's going on that you see is a consequence of what they was doing, and it's getting stronger and stronger every day. They cause wars, so now they're going to be in a war. They're attacking other countries, now they're going to be attacked. Whatever you've done shall be done to you. All things, that's what they're doing. All these things are happening. You see war in every corner of the world now. They actually say in World War III, you see war in every corner of the world right now. The world is at war right now. It's just economic at this point. Most wars start economically, then move into fire, kinetic. Kinetic means like force. It's economics is force. But you see, the economics getting worse. And you know, if you're hungry enough, you can go out, you can kick somebody's ass, you're going to do something. And people are demanding and betrayal. America's betrayed people all over the place. Now they're going to have a great betrayal. They got 2 great betrayals coming. See? One I never mentioned before, I mentioned today. They got a betrayal of Europe, their allies going to betray them. India's going to betray them. India's going to be with China when they attack America. Let me see if there's something more on here. India's going to be with America when India's going to be with America when attacks China, which is going to happen. That's the goat that's coming across, not touching land. Means coming across the sea from the west. That, if you look at it geographically, that only could be China. Because that means it never touched land. That means it couldn't come through China. And China, if you go across the Pacific, you go direct across the Pacific, and which run to run to China? It could be China, geographically. And it's going to be with them. Then Europe, NATO, European Union is going to turn against them. You always see it, they always have to start building already. Because what's happening? They're telling people they got to suffer. They got to freeze. They got to starve. Why? Because America's adventurous in Ukraine. The people say, hell with that. Now these undisciplined people, they say, we're gonna go without heat and food because America got this little fetish about Ukraine, that little thing over there. Hell with that. They're gonna turn on America because they're gonna tell Russia, turn that oil back on. Because they fight with Russia and Russia controls it. That's right in front of your face, brothers and sisters. The great betrayal. Then he got another betrayal. Former president. I never mentioned before, but I mentioned now because we're so close. Obama. He said he's going to be with them. He's going to be a leader of African Federation, non-Islamic African Federation. When this war breaks out, you're going to see things change so fast. If you go back to the 60s, every 50 years, I was telling you, things changed so fast in the 50s. A lot of countries came out of colonialism. A lot of stuff happened. 50s and 60s. So that's one of the things that's going to happen. So he's going to betray him to China. He knows all America's secrets and everything. The great betrayal. Everything they did is coming back at him. I can tell you a lot of things. That's a little secret I told you right there, right? But because he knows, he was the president of the United States. He knows their secrets. He's going to betray them. Okay? The one who was, is not, yet is. He's the eighth brother of seven. Chapter 17, that's what he's talking about. Ride on a white horse. You don't know who he is, I'm telling you. That's what we talk about, atomic warfare. Great betrayal, drugs, nuked. Says Earth will burn us up. That's my whole planet. America burns an oven this year. It's already in motion. Everything's in motion already. Just make it. Just wait for Master Muhammad to pull that trigger. And pull that trigger. So everything that they've done is coming back to all of it. All of it. They're not going to miss one scene, one drop. They're going to taste every bit of it. The shit they fed us, they're going to eat. They'll eat their own children, their pets. Everything they did is coming back to them. They turn some animals, they're going to be revealed as the animals they are. That's one of the things the goat's going to do. He's going to seize America, starve America, they start eating themselves and everybody else. Make children gray-headed. And they're going to expose themselves to animals they are. And they're going to laugh at them, and then before they destroy, before they nuke the place. Then they go into captivity. See, everybody had a hand, they're going to receive their part to play. Jefferson, Washington, all of them, they're going to see the part they played. So they played the part of oppression and enslavement, then they're going to be taken into slavery. It says it. They're going to be taken into captivity. Everything they did, and the captivity taken is going to be as bad or worse than what they did to us. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. So I want to talk about another thing here that's, hold on, let me check this real quick, and then I want to talk about the face of God. See, how people have seen the face of God, but they don't know it. They've been told a lie. They've been told it's something else. See, it's been mischaracterized. People lie about everything, but it's going to be made clear in a few more days. Everything's going to be crystal clear in a few more days. Everything will be crystal clear. A second, brothers and sisters. A little technical issue here to take care of. Fix it. See, the Bible says, I'm not saying it quoting it correctly, it said, those who see evidence of the kingdom, but understand it not, a visible flame follows them up. Now, what does that mean? They receive evidence of the kingdom, right? But they misunderstand it, so a visible flame follows them up. What it's talking about is, see, the Holy Spirit just represents mathematics, because we all under mathematics energy, period. And we're all under control of mathematics. We can give mathematics form, but we cannot create or manufacture or destroy energy. That's what energy is, just mathematics, period. I know it's hard for anybody to understand, but that's what it is. See? So, let me give you an example. Now, if you understand pressure at all, you behoove yourselves to learn about pressure, because that's the base of that is our system. It's like if you want to play chess, you got to learn the rules of chess. Otherwise, you playing checkers, it's not going to work. And the rules of our reality is pressure. That is the rule that governs our reality is pressure, period. Pressure is force. Mass time acceleration. Once you understand that, you understand anything. I keep telling people, they study angel, don't, whatever. You got to understand, you start understand angel, because the whole base of angel is actually, right? Pressure, once you understand it. And pressure is equal, right? It's no net forces mean in a pressure field, everything, all the force is equal. The only difference is a ratio, mass times acceleration. So the force is 12, your mass is 3, your acceleration will be 4. Mass is 2, your acceleration will be 6. The mass is 1, acceleration will be 12. Or if your mass is 12, your acceleration will be 1. It's still going to be 12 no matter what. That's what it is. The force remains the same. So we have currents because you have pressure on one side that's greater than the other side, so you have a current to equalize it. Sets it back equal. That's what current is. Set it equal. Because your equation's off balance, so that's what current is. Right? That's what current is. Very simple. So greater pressure always defeats lower pressure. Lower pressure cannot defeat greater pressure. Greater pressure always expands or defeats lower pressure. So say, for instance, your pressure is 12 square inches. 12 square inch, I would say it, 1 pound per square inch, right? So you have 10 square inches of pressure. Put that away. Or 12. And everybody around you only have 8. So you have more pressure in them. So that means they cannot do anything to you because you're expanding. They can't do anything to you whatsoever. They got 8 pounds per square inch and you got 12 pounds per square inch, right? That means your pressure is greater than theirs. So nothing they can do. You can have 1 million of them, and still they can be a billion of them, 1 trillion of them. No matter. They cannot put pressure on you no more than 8 pounds per square inch, but you can deal with that because you're 12 pounds per square inch. So you're actually expanding in that situation. So look at it from this point of view. Now that means they can't defeat you. There's nothing they can do to defeat you. But say you don't understand that. So here you are, you're in a battlefield, and you're 12 pounds per square inch, and you got 100 people coming at you, and they're 8 pounds per square inch. You look at the numbers. That's why the Bible tells you, don't pay attention to numbers, because you deal with pressure. Numbers don't matter. That's why the Quran says 1 can defeat 1,000. Why you understand? You think because some mystery God stand behind you? No, because it's pressure. All you got to do is make sure your pressure is greater than the pressure around you, and there's nothing they can defeat you. As the Quran says, once you're on the right path, there's no harm can come. They can harm you in any way because you are greater pressure than them. That's what death. I talked about death recently, and I tried to explain that. But I'm trying to give you a point here. So here you go, and they surround you. So you scared to death. Oh man, here's 100 of them, 1,000 of them. They come at me because you look at the numbers. And they come, they got surrounded and everything else, but they can't do anything to you, but they closing on you and trying to stab you and everything else. And then you deliver. Something happened, man, something happened and a hurricane comes up or something. And all of a sudden you deliver it. Oh man. See, you saw the face of God. Because how can I possibly escape that? Man, God must have been with me. No, God was with you. Your pressure was greater than his, but you don't understand that. And I say, those do not understand it, a visible flame falls well. So now, if you're a Buddhist, you're going to blame Buddha for it. If you're a Hindu, you're going to say Shiva did it. If you're a Christian, all right, Jesus did it. See what I'm saying? Because you don't understand mathematics, so now that's for the visible flame. Because I met people like that. I met this one person when I was in Chicago, during the time Elijah Muhammad was there during 1775, was for a while. And I used to sell Muhammad's free newspaper. And this brother, young brother, he was older than me. I was 20s. He was about 30 years old. He used to walk down the street with this big old doctor, like case, those old doctor cases, right? Those black cases. Walk around and he had a white shirt on, no tie. I mean, he might have a tie on. And he'd just be hollering, oh Jesus, And it was weird because he's just walking down the street doing that. This was a real, some kind of semi-mall, right? Okay, so that's what he was doing. Sound issue here. That's what he was doing. So one day I'm like that, right? I cut into people's heads. So I cut into. I said, "What's going on?" So he told me. He said something happened to him that was like impossible. He says, like his scales fell off his eyes and everything, right? He attributed his deliverance from this situation because he was, I think his father was a preacher or something, Jesus. And so that's what his woman, Jesus. Just holler, scream off. That's all he did. He's during the week, he'd come down there, we selling papers, he walked out the street. That guy's bad. I don't know what he had in that bag. But yeah, because he didn't understand the mathematics. And our people doing slavery, right? Holocaust ran into that situation because we had so much negative energy, so they could do so much to us. But if they went over, right? That means, they could do so, they could do this. If you got negative, if you got, because the energy deprivation was like a negative negative 12. Right? So that means they could do negative things to us, apply negative energy to us with no consequence, because we was at energy deprivation, we had negative energy, negative, in other words, bad luck, put that away. 12 degrees of bad luck. But if they put 15 degrees of bad luck on us, then we suffered 3 more than we're supposed to, so now we got 3 degrees of good luck. You understand that? That's why they exceed the limits. Now, good luck, we use that to transform ourselves into diamonds. That's another story altogether. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that as long as they stay within the limits of the bad luck that we had, understand mathematics, then, but when they went overboard, and when they did go, that's what the Holocaust was about. They continuously went overboard, which caused us to generate good luck. That because the situation caused us to be formed into diamonds. But every now and then there'd be a situation where, like I said, oh man, here come master, they look for me, they're gonna kill me, right? And they was for something, over beyond what they're supposed to do, and you found it, you was delivered, somebody came and saved you, or hurricane came up, or you was running away, and right, the bear popped up and chased him, and oh man, Jesus, see, you put it on Jesus. Because you saw the face of God, because that is the face of God. See, because my God's mathematics. When you talk about Allah in that sense, the Holy Spirit, that's mathematics. So you did see the face of God, you saw the mathematics, but you misinterpreted it. And our people suffer from that, because that's why some are so into the Jesus thing, because they've had the experience in their lives. I had those experiences in my life too, but I knew what it was. Like when they had me on Demon Island, they couldn't understand how I defeated that. I wasn't supposed to defeat that. I mean, if I tell you my experience when I was on Demon Island, that's Guam, is Demon Island, right? Well, the thing, they had me locked down. They would come at me in every kind. I mean, when I say Demon Island, exactly what I mean. Everybody was against me there. I was all by myself, no money and nothing. And I defeated them. They could not understand how I defeated them. It looked like miracles was happening. But I knew what it was, because I knew they couldn't defeat me. But they came at me, and every time they came at me, something happened. I'll give you a couple of examples. I actually went to trial. They actually put me on trial. And they had these fake witnesses. They had this imam, he was supposed to, right? Well, the day before his mother died, he had to leave the island, so he couldn't testify. There's this cop that arrested me. He says, right, I confessed, there was all stuff, right? The morning of the trial, he had a motorcycle accident in the hospital, he couldn't testify. They couldn't understand how stuff like that was happening. There's more dramatic things than that I could talk about. So I know it wasn't Jesus doing that, and I know it wasn't no mystery of Allah doing it either. It was mathematics. And I kept on fundamental principles of Islam. I kept applying them, kept making my pressure, build my pressure power up. Math, energy times discipline is power. Energy times pressure is power. And they couldn't defeat me. They did everything they could. They tried to get me to sign away my freedom and everything else. They could not defeat me. I knew they couldn't defeat me. And I walked out there, and they still trying to figure out today how in the hell I defeat them. Like I said, they put me on literal trial with jury and the whole thing. I had no money. Here, one more example, then I'm alone, right? They gave me this public defender. She was from India. And she gonna try to tell, why don't you confess? Why don't you not confess? Why don't you make a deal? Because if you lose this, right, because the thing is, they tell me they're gonna put me in jail for 6 years. They had to get the permission to leave the island. You know, all I got, but if I confess, I mean, if I make a deal. If I didn't make the deal, right? I mean, back, I think, no, it was 3 years, right? But if I did make a deal, I could be in jail for 6 to 9 years if I lost the trial. They was gonna recommend. And I said, man, hell with that. And she can't tell me, I told her, I said, look, Judge, I don't want this woman. I don't know who she is. I don't want her. Or she was trying to tell, I said, I don't care. I don't want her. So what happened is that the guy that was in charge of the public defender's office, the guy that runs it, something happened to him. So they had to get somebody to replace him temporarily. So I don't know, you young people never heard Perry Mason. You can Google, he was like the big time lawyer back in the old TV, right? He was like the guy of the lawyers. So he had this Perry Mason guy on the island. He was the best guy on the island. Name was Jeffrey Moots. Right? You can Google him. He's still there. Jeffrey Moots. And he was like the big shot. He had his own practice and everything, right? So ask him, would he run the public defense office in the stead? Why he found somebody else or this guy recuperated, whatever. I don't know what happened to this other person. So he said he would. And remember, he doesn't do any trials. He doesn't do any cases. He don't do anything like that. All he does is delegate. Control. He's administrator, basically, or whatever, right? So this is the time, right? And I told I didn't want to tell a lawyer. At this time, right, my case went towards death. He had to give it to somebody. He looked at it and said, hey, man, this is bullshit. That's what he told me. He told me, that's a bullshit. This is bullshit. So I want to see this guy. I'll see if I would defend myself. So he came to the jail where I was. And when you ever turn to deal with white people, always look in the eye when they first meet you because you tell everything you know about them. The first thing he said, he was a Lutheran guy, real religious, right? He said, oh, but you black. Because he saw the name right. Oh, I guess he thought he was the Indian or something, right? He caught himself, but he said it, but it was too late. He said, why does that matter? Oh, but you black. So it might have been good luck, whatever, because by him saying, I guess he felt guilty, whatever. But anyway, he took the case. Now I got the best guy on the island. I have a dime. I got the best guy on the island. He's my lawyer. See how stuff happened? I tell people, you understand? You original people, you're wealthy now. It says with God with great wealth. That means you got wealth now. It's just they control the nature of the wealth. So you got $1 million shit farm instead of $1 million gold mine because they won't allow you to buy nothing but shit. So you got $1 million shit farm. That's why we have to leave out of here. Then your money, your gold $1 million, right, be turned into mansions. Because when you go out here, it says you'll be living in mansions that you have not built, right? And things like that, because you're already wealthy. There's control of the nature of your wealth. And now they got you working to get yourself. So you got diabetes, hypertension, all this kind of stuff, because you self-imposed energy deprivation, because they're getting you to divert your energy to worthless stuff that's bringing you down. That's no story altogether. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. So many of you have seen the face of God, but they tell you it's Jesus. You're going to find in a few minutes that Jesus, this so-called Jesus has nothing to do with it. It's all mathematics. Because you're going to walk through the untimely, unprecedented trouble like nothing happened. Time of Jacob trouble, but you're going to be delivered out of it. And the only way you can be delivered out of it, see, because remember, we control the structure of the energy. We give it form. That's why we make personified our energy deprivation situation. That's why situations like you, that's why you're stuck here like this here, right? So the only way you're going to get out of here, you have to be in the Lamb's Book of Life, unless you want to go through tribulation, and then you're definitely going to see the face of God there, right? So the only way you're going to pull out of here, otherwise you go to tribulation, that's the way your good luck will come to you. And it's going to come to you through the Lamb and through your God. And then you had to realize that it wasn't no false mystery God. They delivered you. Your God delivered you, your high priest delivered you, and they're telling you, right, that you were delivered because that was a promise, because your energy, your positive energy you have wasn't because of anything, no mystery God doing it to you. It's mathematics. They're going to show you that it was mathematics that caused you to be in a situation where you can get out of here. So I'm leaving it there, brothers and sisters, because that way you're not going to believe in that mystery God stuff anymore. Because you can say to me, oh, well, if those that want to hold on to that Jesus did it, and some mystery God did it, and all that, well, then you go into tribulation. It says those who know that God will do exploits. That means you go to tribulation, you're going to be delivered over and over and over, all kinds of every kind of disaster you're going to be delivered from. And you're going to realize it ain't no mystery God doing that. It's your own personal power that's doing it, and your obedience, right, to the mathematics, 5 fundamental principles of Islam that gave you the power to walk through it without being burned. You're going to recognize that. So that's why we got that tribulation period, because they wash their robes, so you will be divorced from that kind of thinking. See? Because you're going to realize there's no mystery God doing it. It's your personal power and your obedience to mathematics. But some of you have to go to tribulation to get that information. Some of you are going to get it beforehand and be delivered out of here. And you want no mystery God come and pull you out of here. Nobody pull you in the womb, no ghosts or whatever. It was your God and your high priest that pulled you out of here. See, that's the form it took. And you won't be doing all this mystery God stuff anymore. Okay, I'm gonna leave dear brothers and sisters. Face of God. It said when it happens to you, if you don't understand it, a visible flame follows you up. Because now you out here like that guy walking down the street, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Or you're in the church, hey, running around like a fool, jumping around. Like you see people with T.J. Jakes running around like some dummies, right? Talking about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. 2,000 years ago, Jesus, he's a long time dead. You talking about fire, talking about the originator. The originator is 72 trillion years dead. What are you going to do for you? The originator. Now you're talking about, well, Master Muhammad's the one now. Go sit down under pressure. But he's in everybody's room making babies. He give you eyes. Your mother has nothing to do with your eyes. Your father has to do with your eyes. Well, how come you look like your mother, like your father then? So the God said, okay, let me see what mom and dad look like. I'll make sure you look like them. Is that how that works? That stupid shit, man. Ooh. We're going to crush these people. That's pure bullshit. You ever heard DNA? There's God who he gave you eyes. I was going to take him and include that, but I don't even want to include it in there. And he'll just hear him say it. He gave you eyes. He gave you eyes. But you say he's just a man, right? So Master Muhammad's everybody's womb making babies, but he's a man. So how's he doing? He's copulating with all these women? He got something. I can't go there. How's that happening? That's got to reflect to animals too. So he's very busy, right? But motherfucker had nothing to do with it. What about deformed babies? So he was sick, he was drunk, he was on crack during that time? This is all bullshit. And they're on the fire. They talking numbers, cold bullshit. Okay? And that's what we're talking about. Our main subject, we get into it. Atomic warfare. Atomic warfare, brothers and sisters, that's what it's all about. Atomic warfare. See? It's all about minds, the mind. Because your bottom line, their atomic weapons, all that stuff they think they have, is still controlled by the mind. It's still a mind warfare. And we got the atomic bombs. That means we dealing on the mind level. So they dealing on the air level. So they call them the prince of the power of the air. Because their minds are not as powerful as ours. Once we come out of energy deprivation, when we was in energy deprivation, they kept our minds at a lower level in air, so that way they kept control us. And some of you are still doing that, because that's why I keep telling you, self-imposed energy deprivation, you want to go out and bathe, you want to run around talking about the Queen and Beyonce, a bunch of demons, they're all demons. So, and you want to do all these different stupid, you want to get mortgages and all that kind of stuff, right? American dream, that's what Farrakhan's pushing. That means your energy is being diverted instead of using it for yourself. So now you suffer energy deprivation, and now you don't have a force field around you. You got negative luck instead of good luck. So all these negative things happen. You can't understand where they're coming from. It's coming from you, your own hands. See? But now, once you understand that, you come out energy deprivation, you find your mind's more powerful than this. There's nothing they can do to you. Nothing. Nothing they can do to you. That Christ says, once you're on the right path, no harm, they can bring no harm to you whatsoever, none. But you got to get on that path, and we're trying to get you there. So, but our mind's more powerful, so we fight with atomic warfare. That means we destroy their minds, we destroy their civilization, we destroy their weapons, we destroy their warfare, we destroy everything. That's why they're so confused now. They're so confused now. Because atomic warfare, we got a whole arsenal. We got the angel, that's atomic arsenal. Every verse in the Bible is an atom bomb. And the angel key had, like they said, they have nuclear codes. They have the nuclear codes to explode the bombs. The angel key is your nuclear codes. Explode those verses. And every time you explode one verse, bam! You know, it destroys their minds. It's destroying their minds now because the truth destroys falsehood. It's like Farrakhan talking and stuff. I just blew him away the other day. You didn't notice it. You might think that was nothing. But when I broke that thing about Joseph, right, that was a super atomic bomb because their whole thing, right, is based on his whole lie. They tell people, Joseph, we're gonna eventually take over America and we're gonna rule America, the country that we was in prison in. Because they using the story of Joseph to back that up. And I just blew that away. You say, oh, no, I blew it away. You don't think it's blown away. Because once, like I said, once you explode something in the atmosphere, remember I said, you have been a current, greater pressure and lower pressure is a current between the two. So the greater pressure expands until the pressure equal again. So every time I spin, that's boom, all that pressure in the world. And you might say, oh, no, it's affecting the whole world. Because the whole world's been affected since 1990, since it started breaking those seals. Because it tells you in the Revelation, every time he broke a seal, things would happen. So that means if he didn't break the seal, things would have happened. It says it relates to break no seals. And what was the seals? That's knowledge. See, all these brothers want to try, I got me guns and stuff. I got me guns. I'm going to take... Hold on, brothers. My voice is about to go and I have to get me something for my voice. 1 second, brothers. 1 second. Just give me a second here. Well, sister, I got something here. Let's see here. Okay. So Sam Brown's you have to understand how pressure works. You have to understand how pressure works. Second here. You take an atomic bomb, for instance, right? If you understand how it really works, they ignite. Atomic bomb, what happens is they have atoms in a little bit of space. Atoms very powerful. They're pressure waves. Like your thought are pressure waves, right? The different type of frequency, still pressure wave. And they get that one little space so hot. So when they split those atoms, that one little space, it might be the size of a quarter, it might be the size of a baseball or whatever, but it's up to million degrees. That's what happens. So therefore, as it's spread out, right there's a million degrees, but maybe it's a foot later, right? It's like 900,000 degrees. Maybe 2 yards later, it's like maybe 200,000 degrees, right? Maybe a mile later, it's 50,000 degrees. See what I'm saying? So as it spreads out, because spread out, degrees drop, drop, drop. That's how nuclear bomb works. See? So after a while, after maybe 5 or 6 miles, it's down to maybe 100 degrees. But everything that within that radius, right, it's all burned up. In fact, right at the point 0 million degrees, everything is turned into ash. I mean, then it's obliterated. Same thing with thought. You put a positive thought out there, and you may not see it because you can't see a nuclear blast. You can't see the wind, but it's in the atmosphere and it's spreading. And our hearts are connected to everything in the atmosphere. That's how we're able to tune in. I'm not going to go into that kind of detail here, brothers and sisters, right? But you are affected by every pressure. Your heart is affected by all the pressure waves on the planet right now. Right now, it's just not firm enough for you to translate into tune in. But you're affected by it. You don't know it, but you will know it soon. You're affected by it, it's just not on the conscious level. And then that translates to your thought. Affect your thoughts. So I'm not going to a lot of detail about that. I've talked about that previously, right? But we in a pressure system. That means any pressure that's exploded, everybody in that pressure field is affected by it. The closer you are to it, the more you're affected. But you're still affected. And since your thought are pressure, your thought is pressure, right? And then you're affected by greater pressure, that's going to affect your thoughts. You may not realize it, but it's going to affect your thoughts. There's this thing called subliminal suggestion. Look it up, right? Now, one way they still do it, but it was really blatant back in the 60s and 70s. One way they did it was, if I get this correctly, your eye can pick up one frame, 25 frames per second, I believe it is. In other words, like those old movie things, reels, your brain can pick up 25 views per second, I think I'm saying it right? So on the 26th one, they'll put like a picture of a Coke or something. Every 26th frame, right? So you get 25, then on the 26th one. So you won't pick up that 26th one. You won't pick it up. Yeah, I will pick it up because I only pick up 25 per second. I'm saying it's correct. So you won't pick up the 26th one, right? Because then pick up the next 25, so forth. But subconsciously, you pick it up. You didn't pick it up consciously. All of a sudden, you got an urge, you want some popcorn and stuff. That's what they was doing. Look up subliminal suggestion. They wrote a book about it. There's all the kind of ways he's doing it. I'm just saying you're affected by everything. So, it doesn't matter what language it is. Because when you learn to tune in, brothers and sisters, let me make a little modification here. When you learn to tune in, the only reason I can't do it now because your heart's just not firm enough to do it. Master Muhammad just talked. He had to go and recite the Quran for 8 hours a night, 6 to 8 hours a night, to maintain his ability to. Why do you think he was doing that? For his fun? He wasn't sleeping. He walked back and forth, paced back and forth all night for 6 to 8 hours, reciting the Quran, keep his heart firm enough so he can maintain his ability to tune in. See, we don't have the energy to do that, but you will soon. And once you do that, you find out that you tune in is not a language situation. In your mind, it may be language, but once you tune in, it doesn't matter what language the person sees because it's going to their heart. The heart doesn't know language. When it knows it's happy or sad or whatever. So we have a whole arsenal. Like I said, the angel key, that's the nuclear codes. And you got all these verses, every verse is nuclear atom bomb. Every time you go in and you ignite it, okay, nuclear code, boom, you change reality. I've been trying to teach people how to do that, but it's not working. I can't find, that says, he looked around, he could find no one that would help. It says only Suleiman, he was the only one that could even break those seals, reveal so-called atomic or nuclear codes. That's the angel key. Only one could do it. And he wasn't successful in showing anybody else how to do it. He said, but 141,000 will be able to do it. But prior to that, he wasn't, he tried. And the problem is, that's why a lot of people go into tribulation, because once ignited, see, first of all, you igniting a pressure wave. Explosion, that's what explosion is, a pressure wave. A very concentrated pressure wave, depends on how great the explosion is. That's what it is. It's a pressure wave. See? So you have to be greater than the pressure of that pressure wave to ignite it. Because it's thought. We're talking about thought again, right? Because if you're not, the pressure wave is going to blow you away too. Because it proves a greater pressure than you are, it means it's going to crush you as a result. That means you have to be, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's not able to teach anybody, because they're probably not doing what they need to be doing to build that pressure up. Because if they did ignite it, it'd blow them away too. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Atomic warfare, and the angel is a weapon for the time now, and they cannot defeat it. As great as super atom bombs that destroy this reality, because the mind as well cannot withstand it. It says Suleiman, he was the only one to break seals, so his mind was greater, so he was not blown away by igniting these bombs. You're affected by it. You're affected by pressure waves. You're affected by lower pressure waves, but they don't harm you. You're affected by it, you feel it. Right? Just like you feel a breeze. It don't harm you. Sometimes you even like a breeze. But you know it's there, you feel it. But it's not crushing, you just feel it. So Suleiman, he had to be greater. His thoughts had to be greater than these pressure waves he's releasing. And anybody that has any idea, they know these pressure waves are powerful. If they can see them, if they can see them and experience them and not be blown away by them, that means they must be on the level of them or above it, or they're being blown away by it and may not realize they're being blown away by it. Atomic warfare. That's the war we're waging, and we're winning. See, the world is coming, taking the form that we're giving it, and it's being crushed in every aspect. America is being crushed in every aspect of its system. Every system is being crushed. Every system, be it economics, military, political, social, religious, and every aspect is being crushed. Who's crushing it? The question, how is it being crushed? What's crushing it? Consequence. But we control the structure of the consequence, the form of it. Because they actually produce Suleiman. He's the personification of the consequence. As they were the personification of our energy deprivation, Suleiman and Master Muhammad is a personification of the consequence of what they're doing. Otherwise, if they'd been doing good things, they'd been two different individuals dealing with them. Maybe coming to help them, assist them. With a consequence. So we're giving it form. And the form we're giving it, particularly for Suleiman, because he went through the hard cause just like the rest. Master Muhammad didn't, but Suleiman did. So therefore, he's giving it the consequence, the structure that they gave to us. He represents it. Their wrath has come, not one there. God and the high priest. Their wrath has come. The high priest is given the same structure as they gave to us. The whole 9 yards, eating shit, nuked, taken into captivity, beat, raped, the whole 9 yards. They're gonna suffer every bit of it. Their children be used as bait. They fed our children animals for bait. Now their children be fed to animals. They can eat their own children. Their dogs eating us. Now they're gonna be eating dogs. It's all coming back to them. Not just like I said, profoundly. The Holocaust. That's the most dramatic part of it. But everything they've been doing all around the world, going to take people's country, invading people. Now America's gonna be invaded. America's not gonna be invaded. No, it's gonna be invaded, and they're gonna take you out with it. Because you're demons. Then we got those demon problems. Oh, those demons. See? The skies. They're going to suffer the consequence also. Just a little mild their parents because they went overboard with them because they devils and they treat them like they treat us to some extent. But now they're already getting their reward. It says, those who love this world life, there's no portion hereafter. That means they're talking about demons, black-faced devils from rape. They raped our people, our women so relentlessly. This is half the black people in America are their seed, demons. So they sow the chaff amongst the wheat. Farrakhan's a cheat demon, legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, the NOI backwards. This is the situation, brothers and sisters. Everything, that's why it says all about the Holocaust. But also all other things they do all around the world is coming at them. All the countries they invaded now is coming back at them. They went in, it was all over Vietnam and Korea taking those down now. All these coming back at them. India, right? They enslaved India to some extent, and there's going to be with China when they come and take over this place. All of it, every bit of it, in every respect. All stuff they did to China, to Africa. All of it. America is the target, centroid, if you will, focus. But all Europe is going to pay because they all had a hand in it. But the focal point will be America and Britain, and Britain's going first. And then all other British colonies, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, they're all going to make a final stand here in America. Final stand against consequence. How can you defeat consequence? And everything they've done shall come back to them. And you, my brothers and sisters, 144,000, you're going to be here to witness it. But almost all the Levites are going to be here to witness it. Because they should have been making the bridge between Elijah Muhammad, Suleiman, the messenger of the covenant. They didn't do it. Now they got to go through tribulation. And a lot of people are going to be in it near too. But it says, those who know their God will do exploits. It says, not one hair to hair be harmed, but they're going to experience it up front, personal. They're going to walk through the flame, but they're going to walk through up front, very personal, very intimate. They're going to see it. They're going to see the face of God like you've never seen before. Those that get the message, get the memo, but a lot of people will not. So they're going to watch for lack of knowledge. They're going to still think it's Jesus. Praying and hope for Jesus and everything. Jesus ain't going to save them. See, they ain't going to pay attention. Faith. See, understand what faith is. Faith, let me make sure I get this exactly right, brothers and sisters, because you got to understand what faith is. Okay. Faith, right, is mathematical fact that's yet to be revealed. That's what faith is. Mathematical fact, not belief stuff, these major mathematical fact that's yet to be revealed. Because when you put wood on the stove, put flames, that's mathematics fall there. It just hasn't revealed that it's boiling yet. That's the faith, because you feel you got the mathematical facts. Now it's going, yet to be revealed. That's the boiling. That's what you have faith in. The mathematical fact of all the mathematics involved, but yet has to be revealed. That's boiling yet. That's what faith is, not this bullshit they're talking about. Oh, I have faith and I'm going to heaven and Jesus going to do all that kind of stuff. There's no mathematics involved in that. That's belief. That's belief. That's not faith. Faith based on math. It tells the facts. Faith is facts. Mathematical facts is yet to be revealed. Master Muhammad is a mathematical fact where we see evidence of them all over the place. It says, Master Messenger of the Covenant is coming. He's going to have faith. He's going to be there. So wait for him. He's coming. Mathematical fact based on mathematical facts. He did show up on time, just like it said, but the transfer did take place, just like it said in Scripture. It said two things. Elijah Muhammad make the transfer, or he wouldn't. I mean, Elijah Muhammad. So if he didn't, then you got the mess we got with the demons. If he did, we wouldn't have this mess. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Atomic warfare. That's the battle. Those are the weapons. Not just guns and knives and forks and all that kind of stuff. Atomic bombs. Who controls the atomic bombs? The mind. You control the mind, you control the bomb too. And we control the mind, but we're destroying their minds. Every time you release the mathematical nuclear code, so to speak, the angel key, one of those verses exploded. Atomic bomb, putting all that high pressure waves into the system, thought waves, affecting the whole world. Like you can't see it, you can't see the wind, but you see the evidence of it. And you see the evidence of everything going around you, because everything I've been saying for 30 years, now you're seeing it. You're seeing it right before your eyes. So where's it coming from? Where's all this trouble coming from? America's being in trouble on every side. From every side is catching fire. Hell, on every side. And then you got a senile man that's in charge of it. Atomic warfare. So if you want to be part of that, a true energy warrior, then you got to load up. You got to get your pressure up where you could take and plow those nuclear codes to explode those bombs. But it says no one will be able to do that. At least that's what it says. So there was a couple that might, but it says 140,000. They would be able to do that. And you got all that firepower. All that fire. How can this world resist? They can't. And one reason why we're doing it that way, because we want to get this thing over fast. It says, happen. Twinkle of an eye, I want to get over fast. It says, God, it says in the Quran, it says in the Bible, it says, when his time comes, right? It says he will quicken it, hasten it. All the beauty and good will hasten in his time. Now it's time to hasten it. We want to get rid of it. That's why I bring all this firepower. Otherwise, just one prophet would do it, but it takes a lot of time. Like Prophet Muhammad took how many years it took him to complete his mission? No, it took 30 years to build up to this, but now it's time. We want to bring this to a screeching halt. 1 year, bam, twinkle of an eye. We had enough of it. Now time of their wrath has come. We have enough time up, but time over, time stop. Doomsday over. 1 year, bam. While you wait for Master Muhammad, night. Pull the trigger. Ignite the Middle East. It's a tinderbox over there. Ignite the Middle East. That's going to set Europe ablaze. Armageddon. It's going to trigger Inferno in Asia, China, India. It's going to take and be an oven to Europe and America, specifically America. Inferno, fire inferno. It's going to encompass America and Europe, primarily America, and burn to a crisp. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. Consequences of the Holocaust. In addition to the consequences, everything they've done for the last 5 years. So all they've done, look all the countries they invaded, all this kind of stuff they're doing, all is coming back to all of it. All of it. In 1 year. How many years of all this hell coming on in 1 year? So it said chapter 18, 1 day, 1 year. You can't even imagine that. That's why it says a time of unprecedented trouble. You can't imagine. I got a great imagination. I can't imagine how do you compress all that in 1 year. They say it's theories. Okay, yeah, okay, we'll see. We're gonna stay, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna leave it there. I was gonna talk about some old things, but I'll talk about that another time. I was gonna go and have a redux of what I talked about Joseph, because we had bad audio. But I got a new laptop coming in, so I'm gonna hold off on that because I don't want to do it again because I'm not sure if my audio is coming through right now. Because they had to do a system redo. They took out my new laptop, so I got a new one coming in. And so I was going to do that, but I want to do that when I know I got good, clear audio, because that's very powerful. Because remember, that's the foundation of Farrakhan's bullshit. That we're going to stay here because Joseph, the scripture said Joseph is going to, that Joseph is going to inherit, with Joseph, that Joseph's going to inherit this land that he was in prison in. That's not what that story means. I break down very clearly. And break down even more clearly once I make sure my audio is 100%. Because they asked him, what about all those other things to talk about Joseph? He got all wrong. But that's I knocked this foundation out. I'll knock him out in a minute. Get rid of that damn demon. We gotta get rid of these demons, bro and sister, because they're our worst enemy right now. They're trying to the open enemy, they are hidden enemy. They're wicked. Because they look like us, but they're the personification of what I was talking about. This pushmobile idea, pushing something. It only moves as long as you're pushing it. But it has the face of what you're pushing. So if you're pushing somebody, like Elijah Muhammad, he had to push the people. So when he stopped pushing, they stopped. I'm not going that route. See? But when you're pushing, they see the car. They don't see you pushing it. So they see, right? So they think the car is moving. And so they think that's, but no, you're the one pushing it. You're the one pushing it. So the car gets the credit when you're doing the work. See? So the car, all it does is gives its structure to the situation, but you apply energy. They use that engine. They have to use engine to give it their structure, but they're not motivating it. And so when you stop pushing, they stop moving. So what do you need that for? It's all good for exercise, but if you're trying to get somewhere, it's no good. And you can't have those kind of people around you because they just waste your time. Unless you want exercise, I don't need that. Pushmobile. See, you didn't know a pushmobile. Once you stop pushing, it just stops. It pauses. Because if they was for real, they was more self-motivated. If you stop pushing, they'd keep on going. Maybe you move faster. Be no pause at all. If they have to pause, that means, I'm trying to regroup. Well, you go ahead and regroup. Why you need to regroup if you was motivated all the time? Why you need to regroup? See? So we don't get rid of all that stuff. See, I don't want followers. I never said I want followers. No one ever heard me say I want followers. I'm looking for followers or following. I'm looking for the self-motivated, proactive. See, added value. Everything else is distraction, waste of time. Because we're going to hereafter. Nobody will sit around pushing you. Nobody will sit around pushing you. So I make gods. So you're going to be pushed, then you're going to be pushed right out of here. We don't want you. You have to be pushed, we don't want you. It means you can't keep up. You're not going to make the hereafter. Nobody's going to push anyone into the hereafter. You got to make it on your own. You have to qualify. You have to survive, be able to survive the atomic warfare. Your pressure has to be greater than that, or you'll be blown away by it. See, people don't understand that. 144,000, they won't. It says they won't be blown away by it because their mind pressure will be as great or greater. So if your pressure is not greater, then you won't go out of here because you've been blown away by it. But if it's equal, right? That means you got to go to tribulation to get it stronger, greater, because equal just stands, right? You have to get that pressure level higher where you can start breaking those igniting those bombs yourself. We're not talking about the females. We protect them. We put our force field around them. We enclose them in our force field. That's what we owe to them. We're not going to make we're not going to put that, make that qualification on them, on that criteria on them. We're not going to do it. They got enough take care of babies and everything else they have to take care of. So how are we going to tell them they got to focus on this when they got to focus on take care of our little nasty behinds? Don't make no sense. Oh, sister, man, you got to get your pressure up. But you got to take care of these babies and nurse and all that kind of stuff. But we ain't into that bullshit. We'll start thinking right, logical. So we put our protection as we're supposed to be doing anyway, because the Quran tell you that's part of our job, right? To protect them. So what does that mean? So we can put our protection around them, our force field around them, right? We ain't asking them to break any. If they want to do it, they can do it fine. They're not asked to do that. They'll be able to do it when they get home. Right now, we want them to focus on take care of family, take care of children, and everything else. As long as they ain't walking around with the devil in their arm and going backwards. But brother, how can you do that? How can you put your shield and you don't have it? You have to be up there. You have to be able to handle it, to shield them. You have to have your bulletproof vest on so you can block the bullets, cover them to keep your bullets from hitting them. Otherwise, they go right through you to them. So you have to step up and be able to survive the atomic warfare. But that's the warfare that's going on right now. And it's blowing away a lot of you. It's blowing your minds right away. That's what the warfare is. I'm trying to tell you what the warfare is. Not fighting, not shooting guns, all that kind of stuff. Atomic warfare. And your defense, I told you, 5 fundamental principles of Islam, that's part of your defense. The other part is strengthening your mind. That's what India is for. I told you it's a gym. It's also a gym. Get to strengthen your mind to the point where, right, that you can survive, that you can handle, because it's pressure. That's when we ignite it, pressure. Pressure waves. If your brain is weaker than that, then it's going to be crushed by those pressure waves. But you got to get your brain stronger so it will not be crushed by those. And then you can also start igniting those waves yourself. Then you can protect your sisters. Because right now I'm protecting them. I put my force field around them. I'm protecting them. That's what we're supposed to do. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to make it simple as possible. We're igniting atomic bombs. That's what happens. That's what it's quite about. Believing and disbelieving. Disbelievers ones that can't handle the pressure. So they're crushed by it. The believers are the ones that can handle it. And they boost their pressure, becoming greater, so they're delivered. They're not blown away, so they're the ones who move on to the next level. Time travelers, they keep moving on to the next level because they was overcome the pressure of scriptures, the Quran, gospel, when Jesus came, whatever, they was able to stand and overcome that. The pressure waves that Prophet Muhammad spread out there. He crushed a lot of people. A lot of people was able to survive it. Same thing with the Gospels. And right now, it says who might be crushing Billions. Because the whole world is low pressure waves. All these crazy, stupid religions. All of them, every one of those religions is garbage, every one of them. True religion is mathematics. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. Anything less than that has been blown away. So your mind's got to be above that. Except for our sisters. Now they got to be somewhere close. But we put our shields around them, get them home. So I had to worry about that. If they can, that's even better. We protect our sisters. We're not going to put fear in them, anxiety, and none of that. I'm not going to do it. The demons, yeah, but not my sister. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to stand on, so we're going to leave it there. So, like I said, once I get my sound situation straight, I'm going to go back to Joseph and do it like I really want to do it. It's clear because the last one I looked at, last one I did. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.